everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today. Today's webinar topic is Nabertherm high-quality sintering furnaces made in Germany. Today's presenters are Saskia, Christgau, and Sam Forsythe from Nabertherm. So now I'm going to turn it over to them.
Thanks, Katie. My name is Sam Forsythe. I'm a sales engineer with Nabertherm. Been with the company for about 3 years. I'm in charge of our laboratory and dental sales departments in the US, and I'll turn it over to Saskia to introduce herself too.
Yes, hello, my name is Saskia Christgau. I'm from Germany. I'm working for Nabertherm for 6 years, and I'm the responsible key account manager for our dental department. And yes, Sam and I would like to introduce our company.
So with that, let's get started. Saskia?
Yes, we would like to talk with you about our zirconia sintering furnaces, and we would like to explain the heating curves and the process times which are available with our furnaces. After that, I would like to talk about our sintering furnace for Cobalt Chrome, and we would like to show accessories and spare parts for all our furnaces. And in the end, we would like to explain our process controls and documentation. Yes, that's our company Nabertherm here in Germany. We are located in the north in Bremen, and all furnaces are made here in Germany. We have around about 500 employees worldwide, and yes, it was published in 1947. And yeah, now we would like to show you our furnaces.
Yes. So first, we'd like to talk about our zirconia sintering furnaces. We have a couple different options depending on your workload and your process times. The Tmax that we have is 1650 Celsius. Several of these furnaces have molybdenum disilicide heating elements. You might be familiar with that as MOSI elements, or we have some options with silicon carbide heating elements. We have insulation that is not classified as carcinogenic, which is good in the industry, and we have furnaces that are usable for sintering blanks of all manufacturers, any zirconia manufacturer out there, whether there's a slow time or a fast sintering program, we can have options for that. So we have two different sizes, as you can see. For example, the 0117D and the 0317D, the LHT models are front-loading furnaces where you can have up to 30 single crowns in 2 layers in the smaller one, or up to 75 single crowns in the larger one. And looking to the left, we have our lift bottom furnaces, which we also have a smaller and a larger one of those. And you can get the same capacity, but with these, you have the option of speed cooling. So with the front loader ones, you just have natural cooling. So if you're sintering overnight, or if you only have maybe 15 crowns you need to run overnight, those would be the choice for you. But if you want to have multiple cycles per day, higher workload, then you can go with our Elbe speed furnaces. And then on the very right, we have our LHTCT model, which is the ones with silicon carbide heating elements, and this one can only get up to 1550 Celsius. So just keep that in mind. Talking specifically about the Elbe speed models, they have a furnace chamber of 1 or 2 liters, the max temperature of 1650 C with the molybdenum disilicide or MOSI elements. They have a nice stainless steel housing. In the back, it's completely redesigned, upgraded motorized belt drive, the table that lifts it up into the chamber, as you can see there in the second picture. And this is also showing you what the pre-drying function is. So it's automatic when you start the program. It'll raise up, it won't close all the way, it'll raise up to a certain point like is shown in the picture, and it'll heat up to 500 Celsius, and then it'll close the rest of the way. And what that does is if you're using drying liquids, it gives it more space to escape the drying liquid gases to escape through the bottom and also through the top. And so it prevents as much buildup on the heating elements before closing the rest of the way. And at the end of your cycle, you can program it with an extra function to lower the table just a little bit, so that if you have cooling rates that you want to do, you can program those in, and you can program it to open a little bit just to have a controlled cooling all the way down. So with that, you can have total process times of about 3.5 hours, depending on which model you get, compared to what it would normally be, which would be 6.5 hours. And this is just with the ramp as fast as possible, hold for about an hour, and then cool as fast as possible. Now moving on to the front loading models, we have the volume of 1 or 4 liters with the 0117D or the 0317D. Again, max temperature of 1650, which is usually more than enough for most of the sintering profiles. This one has a very attractive price to performance ratio, still with the stainless steel housing, and you can have an additional fan cooling for lower surface temperatures, but for the most of the time, it's just natural cooling, like I said, overnight. And with this one, you can get 4.7 to 5.2 hours of total process time. So it's still not too much in the scheme of things. And finally, I'll talk about the LHTC models with the silicon carbide elements that you can see. It looks like a curly Q. And for these, we have two models, 1.5 liters or 3 liters. And like I said, the max temperature for these is only 1550 C. So if you have lower temperature zirconia firing at 1400 to 1500 at the max temperature, these would be a good choice. They're a little bit less than the molybdenum disilicide models, the Elbe speed and the D models. But for these, yeah, it's more for the lower temperature ones. You can have single phase connections with these, as well as the other ones. Still stainless steel housing, and yeah, that's the main difference with these. So just to summarize, we have the lift bottom furnaces, like I said, can get up to 1650 C, 30 or 75 single crowns, up to 50 programs, and we'll talk a little bit about the controllers later to see what sets us apart. For translucent zirconia, and these ones have the speed function where you can cool very quickly. And then moving on to the LHT-D models in the center, they still have the molybdenum disilicide elements, and they're still can have the same capacity, they just don't have the speed cooling function. Still with 50 programs for translucent zirconia. And finally, we have the furnaces LHT-CT models with silicon carbide elements, 1550 CT max, but you really want to only go up to 1500 Celsius when operating with these for any extended period of time. Still at the same capacity in the two versions. You have 10 programs with this one, and it's for non-translucent zirconia. So those are the furnaces for our zirconia, and now I'll let Saskia talk about our furnace for cobalt chromium.
Yes, I would like to show you our sintering furnace for cobalt chromium. This furnace has 1 liter volume and a maximum temperature of 1300 degrees. It's also a single phase connection, and in the scope of supply, we also deliver the accessories, the sintering bell set, and it's made of also silicon carbide, and it has a very long lifetime. The furnace is also equipped with a gas supply system with solenoid valve and flow meter, and it's also made of stainless steel. Also in this model, we only use materials that are not classified as carcinogenic. I cannot say it. Sorry.
Carcinogenic.
Yes. We use a noiseless solid-state relay to switch the heating. And the furnace is equipped with a forced cooling system with compressed air. And the furnace is equipped with different gas flows, can be set for the optional adaptation to the sintering cycle. This is an option, it has not to use. Yeah, and in the first picture you can see the sintering bell set. As I told you, it's in the scope of supply. And the furnace is equipped with a lift door and with the controller C450. We will explain it later to you. With a memory of 10 programs. The thermocouple is type S. And the controller allows for automatic temperature control and switching of the gas flow. Yeah. And in the scope of supply is also sintering pearls, which you can see in the second picture, and a special tongue to use this. Here are a picture of our accessories. The first data set, the round version in the white, is for the zirconia sintering furnace. It's also included in the scope of supply. Then the recantal starter set is the starter set for the smaller sintering furnaces for zirconia. And then you can see again the sintering bell set, which is delivered with the Cobalt chrome sintering furnace. Here are an overview about the regular spare parts. All of these are on stock, therefore we have a very fast delivery time for this, also for the furnaces. And yes, we recommend to the customers to have one set of heating elements on stock, then it will be faster for you to exchange something when it's wearing out.
Yeah, and I see there was a question by Jerry Koch. The rods, I guess you're talking about the LHTCT furnace. It is user replaceable, and as far as the price goes, I would just talk to your Zahn representative, and they can get you a quote on that.
Yeah.
So now I'll talk a little bit about our controllers. This gives you a couple of the screens that are on the controllers. For example, it's very easy to enter a program or to load a program, to set a real-time clock within it. So you can do delay start if you wanted to. If you started at 3 o'clock and you wanted to delay start until 5 p.m. And this gives you an example of the last picture of naming your program. And we also have a short video that we'd like to show you about our controllers, and it'll give you more of an idea, so you'll get to see the controller in action to start your programs. So it has the play button, the menu button, a clickable jog wheel, a back button, and an info button. And this is how to select your program. Of course, you can rename all of those once you get into the program. So this is him selecting how to start a program. This is about delayed start. So normally you just want to start it immediately, so he selected no. And then you just hit the play button to start the program. And you can see at the bottom left, it's the heating power from 0 to full power. can pause the program, start it again, and you can see the segment that you're on. So this is the first segment, program 1, segment 1. It's going from 0 degrees to 200 Celsius, and there's a rate, I'm sure, or a time that they've put in for the ramp. And this is showing you the target temperature is 27 degrees, actual temperature is 22 degrees. So it's heating up to try to match the actual temperature with the target temperature. And we have a couple more videos on our website under tutorials that show you a little bit more about our controllers if you're interested. We talked a little bit about the process controls and documentation, but this gives you an example of the type of data that you can pull right off of the controller. If you look right here at the top left of the controllers, there's a flap, and underneath of this is a USB port where you can plug in a USB stick and you can download the run data and process data from your furnace, and you can plug it into a computer and create a chart like is shown here. And alternatively, we have NT-log for our controllers as well, which is a free software that you can use to graph the program and run data. You could also, it's saved as a CSV file, so you can convert it to an Excel file and graph it in Excel as well. And on top of that, we have the NT graph, which I just talked about. But I wanted to mention that we have this freeware that Saskia's going to talk about. It's our NTEdit, which is a new software that we came out with recently.
Yes, we developed a freeware software. It's called NTEdit for program editing on the PC. And on the left picture, you can see how it looks like when you downloaded it. It's based on Microsoft Excel. Yes, and I would like to talk about a bit more about this. Yeah, with this freeware, it's easier for you to structure it and to adding the programs on a PC. And you can, after you entering the program, you can import this to the USB stick, and then you can transfer it from the USB stick into the controller. Yes, and then you have the import function of programs via USB stick, and you can also graphical have an overview to set the programs on the PC. It's available in different languages, but most of you would like to use English, I think. And yes, you need for this the MS Excel program. Yeah, I would like to show you not the complete tutorial because it's a bit longer, but the beginning. When you are interested in, then we can send the download link to you and the operating instructions, and then you can download it from our homepage, and then it looks like in this way. You have to open NTEdit. So, and now you have to set some points. Here you have to set the maximum temperature of your furnace. For the sintering furnace, for example, it will be 1650, and you have to select your controller type. It will be the P480. Then in the controller you can see the version. You also have to select this in this software. And here you can also select use present to enter the name of the program automatically, or you can give them your own program name. in this tutorial we call it test 01. And this line shows in, can you go back, Sam?
Yeah.
To program number. Yes. Here you can see the program number. You can choose which number it should be with our controller. You have 50 programs, and when you say, okay, it should be program number 5, it's your choice, or you say, no, it's program number 50, you can select it here. Okay.
Okay.
This one is not interesting for you. It's some more options which can be used, but this is also available for other furnaces. Therefore, this with chart control is not for you. And then you start to enter your program. We start always with 0 degrees in the first segment. Then you say, okay, I would like to reach 500 degrees. And after that, you can say, okay, in which time or with which heating rate. And this is important for you for your sintering information from your zirconia manufacturer. And here in this example, we say 100 degrees per hour. And now we have to program an holding time, 500 degrees to 500 degrees for 1 hour. That's now the holding time, the second segment, or maybe for 2 hours. And now we would like to reach 900 degrees and come from 500. And now we say, okay, the furnace has to heat up as fast as the furnace can, and then you select step. And our lift bottom furnaces are equipped with the lift bottom, and this is to activate with an extra function, which you can see here now. Yeah, you can give them your own name, for example, lift bottom, or open the lift bottom, something like this. And then you have to click on it, and then it's programmed that you would like to use your lift bottom to open it after a sintering cycle. Then fresh air comes into the furnace and the cooling time can be shortened. This tutorial is very long, but you can also see it on our homepage if you would like to see the complete process. Yeah, but it's a freeware software, an option from us for you, that program entering will be easier for you.
Right. And I'll just add that at the end of this, once you've entered your whole sintering program here, you can click up here where it says export to USB. And if you have your USB plugged in, a window will pop up and you can save it under your USB. It'll be saved under the programs. A new folder will be created. And then you can eject your USB from your computer, go over to the furnace, plug it into the furnace, and then you can go into the furnace on the screen where it says import, and that can be gotten to through the info menu, and we can help you do this as well. Then you just hit import the programs, and then you can go to you know, the menu button, enter program start, and your programs will be in there, and then you can just select your program and go from there. So if you don't want to program on the furnace, the furnace control screen. This gives you an extra free feature that you can do on your computer. It's a little bit easier to see everything right in front of you as you're programming, entering, especially if you have 10 different sintering programs that you want to enter all at once. You can enter 10 programs, save them to the USB, carry them all over to your furnace, and import them all at once. So can save you some time there.
Yeah, thank you very much in this moment. Maybe you have more questions or something like this. We are glad to answer to you.
For sure. And Katie, I think this has been recorded as well.
Yes, that's correct. So we'll be sending out a link to the webinar if anyone missed anything as well.
Great.
Very good.
Welcome, Chris. The price on the LHTs, Jerry. Zon Dental has our pricing. I know if you work with Steve Cirillo, he can tell you our pricing. Or you can send me an email. I can put you in touch with him. But our list prices, they range from, I think it's 8,000 something up to 1,200 with the LB speeds.
I think Jerry also asked for the lifetime of the SEC rows. All in all, we have a rule that the heating elements have a lifetime of approximately 1,000 operating hours. It depends on your sintering program. Yes, but this is a general rule about this.
All right, thanks guys. I think that looks like that's all the questions that we have today. But that, again, we're going to be sending out a follow-up email with a link to the webinar recording. So thanks everyone for joining, and thanks to Saskia and Sam for being great presenters today. We really appreciate your partnership. I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Katie. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks,
guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.